Hello, 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 everyone. Okay, I hope I don't look too big. Hello, everyone. I'm Ellen Sutter, the ESP Presents. Probably can't hear me. You should be able to hear me now. Hello, everyone. I'm Ellen Sutter of ESP Presents. Hopefully, you could hear me. I see you there. Gonna invite you in. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hey, I can hear you. All
You
right.
can hear me?
Yep. Pull your desk up so I can see you. Bring yourself up. There you go.
Okay.
All righty. All righty. All right. We're just gonna make sure things are okay, and this is still a live recording. And for those who are looking on and those who plan to come in, I'm Ellen Sutter of ESP Presents. Today we're talking to Reverend Sherri L. Brown Jackson, and we're going to discuss her book. I don't know if you could, is it backwards to you?
Right.
Yeah. We're going to discuss her book, Not Built to Break. And we're going to also talk about one of the topics in there. We're going to go to the back, and it's titled So What? And that's those of you that's online that may have the book. That's going to be on page, well, it's chapter 21, but it'll be page 109. And I'm going to introduce her at this time. Coming to the stage, you know how I am, very dramatic. Reverend Sherri L. Brown Jackson. And as we said, her book is titled Not Built to Break. You can still hear me, right? Okay. I've been talking about you on Facebook Live, this fiery Paul's sister.
I hope that I could, I'm not a night person, so I'm going to try to bring the drama that I have.
I can't wait. This has been a fiery moment. I just cannot wait. So what we'll do is we'll let you introduce yourself. We did do a tester, but we can just bring those people up to date and tell us about yourself and this passionate walk you going on.
Well, good afternoon. First of all, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to have this platform and for you doing this. I am Sherri. Um, Officially, I guess, Reverend Sherri L. Brown Jackson, based in central Louisiana. That's Alexandria, Louisiana. And I understand that you have connections to the military. So I'm not far from Fort Polk in Leesville, Louisiana.
All right. And see,
And
I know. Go ahead.
I, as you said, recently published my memoir that I've been writing for years, as my friends say. Are you going to do this for real? Well, I did. I finally did. And I recently graduated from seminary in May. And as soon as I graduated from United Theological Seminary in Dayton, Ohio, with my Master's of Divinity, May 20th, I decided that it was now or never with my book. And the manuscript had been there for a long time, but I just decided that, well, God decided that you're going to put up or shut up. And I got the book out, started the ball rolling in June. And some people thought, well, how could you manage to do that with all that you had going on? How could you write a book? Well, the book has been written for 5 years.
Wow.
And all I had to do was close it. A good Baptist preacher got a good close. So I wanted to make sure that I could close it because I only had one time to close. And that's what happened. And so we got the book published, and it is really taken off. And the feedback that I have been getting is that lives have been impacted because you could just about move my name and put your name,
Mhm.
and you'll be right on target.
Wow. Wow, that is awesome. Right now it is 9:23. We're just going to kind of talk around, and then also you just went you just went out of town and you spoke. Tell me where you spoke at. I don't want
I
to.
went to Racine, Wisconsin, and had a book signing. And if you read the book or will be reading the book, Racine is one of the my time in Racine was a pivotal part in my story. I wanted to do at least three major book signings, or three what I call ceremonial book signings. One was in my hometown in Hammond, Louisiana, and of course that was scheduled for August the 14th, and we had the great flood in Baton Rouge, and so Hammond is on the other side of Baton Rouge, and I couldn't get through Baton Rouge, so we had to cancel that one. And then the second place was my here in Alexandria at my home church. We did that one. Um, August the 27th. And then this weekend was in Racine, Wisconsin. That was the church that I belonged to while I was in Racine for about 5 years. That's the church that I accepted my calling, my preaching calling. So these three places were very important in my journey. So I wanted to go back to those places to do those book signings. And so now the real work begins.
Wow. Well, I'm sure it was well received going back to those different places. But how did it make you feel? Was that a place of, those different places? And you said it was a pivotal time in your life, and you wanted to go back. How did you feel after going through? First of all, those who read the book will know where I'm going. I'm not going to give the book away. But after going through those different points and those different things that came in your life, did it bring a fresh new or an eerie, like you had to breathe through each place that you had to revisit?
Well, honestly speaking, because I did not get to do the one in my hometown where, I was born and raised and, got married, and I will be face to face with some of the people in the book, I have not had opportunity to do that one yet. Because, as I said, the flood got me on that one. So I have not rescheduled. That probably will be the place where I have the most
Yes,
anxiety, so to
yes,
speak.
yes.
Yeah. Now, last weekend in Wisconsin, it was a happy feeling because I'm on the other side of being there. In other words, when I got there, I was fresh off of coming, escaping from my marriage. So they got a much better person this time than when I was originally there. I like to say when I got to Racine, I was very raw, and it is in Racine where that church family, a small church, Zoe Outreach Ministries, and a family took me in basically and helped to restore me. And so I've gone back several times, but this time it was a little different.
Wow, that sounds good.
It's a little
That
different.
sounds good. That is really
Mm-hmm.
good. Wow. Wow. In writing the book, the pieces that you had to just kind of put together and breathe through, did you find it difficult to start just writing those pages, putting them together? You just mentioned that it was about 5 years in the making.
Mm-hmm. Um, well, I've been telling little bits and pieces of my story for a long time. In my preaching, I use myself as an illustration. Um, as a newspaper reporter and editor, I often wrote columns and infused, and also the publisher of my own newspaper, I often wrote columns and infused some of my story um, in those writings. But as a book, when more than two or three or four people read it and it's in print, you can't take it. You can't take it
No.
back. And so, as a reporter and editor, when people used to call the newsroom and they wanted to just, expose all kinds of things and they just wanted to tell it all, they wanted, and I will always caution them that, it's one thing to want to tell it all, but when 70,000 people wake up in the morning and read um, what you wanted to
No.
say, you can't take it back. And oftentimes they will call me and dispute the story, but you can't take it back. So I had that in my mind that it's one thing to be in print all over the world, um, than it is to be,
Wow.
in a small place. So I think that took me a minute, and also not knowing what family would say, what friends would say, even though I talk about myself and the situation all of the time. But it
Mm.
was something about putting it in print.
Because I
It
know.
was something about
Oh,
putting
go
it in
ahead.
print. So, but
Because I know. Oh, go ahead.
no, it's done now. I'm talking across the
Hey,
world, so I
because
can't
I
take
know
it
you
back.
you mentioned in there. You said that some of this the people or characters we would say that you use their real characters, and some of them you gave them a fictitious name. So the ones who know that
Mhm.
it's their real name, have you got any feedback from those real names?
I mean, the real names were my family, and so they all knew what was going down. I mean, when you're a small town, no need to try to give my mama a different name.
Yeah.
It is what it is. So my family, I kept the same. My family, I kept the same, and um, some close friends, but other than that,
Wow,
I changed the names.
that's something else. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I'm just talking back. We have Wendy. She's here. I'm just saying hello to her. And Wendy, we got on a little earlier, and so we can just kind of see how things feel. But we did start a little early, and so right now it's 9:31. So I'll just talk about that offline. And so Wendy is one of our readers as well. So the book. So what? That's what you titled it. And I wanted to tell you
So
this.
what?
My birthday is May 14th, and every time something happened on the 14th, I was
Oh,
like, oh, I hope she liked me because my birthday is May 14th. This stuff is going down on the 14th all the time. And May stuff. Okay, yeah, I'm all right
you're
with May.
okay. You're okay.
Oh wow. So I don't want
Yeah.
because if we do this, it'll end quick with you. So I don't want it to end quick with you. But
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Okay. I
and
can talk. I can talk.
quite a bit. You see that we have the Tamar story on there. You know I cannot let that go. You got to tell us one more time. I know I do this to you all the time because if I start right here and this is it right here, the 7 lessons, we need more of you.
I'm trying. I am trying. I
Wendy
am
said that needs to
trying.
be played for every woman. Wendy said that needs to be played.
Well, um, it's out there, and I'm available to come wherever you want me to come, and I'll just
Amen.
preach it in person.
But if you want to go ahead with it, for those that's on the line, we want to get on into this. Tell me what you want to do. I know I'm hosting, but we won't have much of you if we do that.
Oh man, oh it's well, unfortunately, I was listening to the sermon again because for some reason I don't know if it's the first time women have heard the story of Tamar. There's actually two Tamars in the Bible, and both had problems with men. One was Tamar in Genesis 38, um, who had to do some stuff to take her life back. Um, and if you've listened to the sermon, I entitled that one, "A Woman's Got to Do What a Woman's Got to Do." Um, and the other Tamar was
Mm-hmm.
raped, which was David's, I believe it was David's daughter. But for some reason, that sermon has really taken off, and perhaps it is because maybe the timing is just right or something of that nature. Or what I'm getting is that people have heard the story before,
Exactly.
but never from a
Exactly. Because I
woman's
was talking to
perspective.
somebody today and I was telling them
Yes.
about how you just told that, and all we and this person I spoke with, all they knew was that Judah went to a prostitute, and that's all we know.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Well, as the tale goes, in Genesis 38, 1 3, basically that whole chapter. And it is so important for uh,
Mm-hmm.
to preach contextually. And what I mean by contextually, you can't just read the Bible in the 21st century as if it was written in the 21st century. It was not written in the 21st century, and it was
Mm-hmm.
not written from a Western perspective. It was written from a Middle Eastern, ancient Near East perspective. And so to translate everything automatically to the 21st century without understanding the world in which the Bible was
Yeah.
written, it messes you up. And so Tamar, being a female, being a woman, being a widow, was destined to poverty. Was destined to poverty, and so her husband died. Her oldest husband, her original husband, her first husband died, and she was left barren and a widow. Well, the law and the custom dictated that her brothers, her husband's next brother, should marry her and give her a child. Now, in doing so, the child would not be that brother's, it would actually be the first husband's child. Okay? And so he had sex with her, but he, as we say, pulled it out and poured on the ground, or he ejaculated on the ground, which means that there was no seed. So basically, he had his way with her, but did not give her a child. So then Judah has a third son, but that son, right, is kind of like is too young to marry, and besides now Judah is getting scared because his first two sons have died. And so, in an effort to protect his son, he says that he's too young. Now, he kind of like
Mm-hmm.
puts it on her. Something must be something wrong with her, but it was actually both of his sons did what they were not supposed to do, and they died.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and God caused them to die. Well, the third son is too young. So, what Judah does is send Tamar back to her father and say, "Go to your father's house until you can, um, my son is old enough." Well, he says, now you don't send a girl back
Uh-huh.
home without, some problem. But again, this is a different time. Um, she goes back in shame, disgrace, humiliation, that she's got to go back to her father's house. Now, to not give a child and to be, she's not barren, she's just not, does not have a husband, or to give her a child. Well, as the time goes, Judah's wife dies, and Judah's he's in the mourning period, and when that time is up, his boys say, "Hey, let's go hang out. Enough of this morning. Let's go to the sheep shearers convention. We're gonna eat, drink, and be merry." And so, going there, he passes the temple, and Jude and Tamar, knowing that he's coming that way, dresses as a harlot. Now, some people have stopped
Mhm.
right there and say she was a prostitute. No, she dressed as one because she knew what would get his attention. Because up until now, he's lied. He ain't brought that boy to her to give her a child. So he comes through. She dressed like a prostitute, a temple prostitute, which is so much different from what we would understand a prostitute to be. But she dresses like one. He comes, he sees her, he wants her, he has her. Remember, women are, are property. She knows him, but all he knows is what she wants. He wants, and that's the body. So he don't even know who this is. So he talks about paying her with a goat, and as in exchange for services. Well, she's a smart woman, and she realizes, no, I better get a little bit more than a goat. I better put some with your name on it. We're gonna put some respect. We're gonna put some respect on this. I don't want no goat.
Yeah.
We're gonna put some respect on it.
Yeah.
And so she says, give me uh, your staff, your cord, and I forget, it's one more thing I can't remember, but it's three things. And that was akin to his social security card, his bank card, and all of that. Now, if you heard the sermon, I said, well, she was strategic. She was creative. Say what you want. We've all had to do some things to um, take care of ourselves, or to um, get the job done, to feed our children, to do whatever need to be done. So we can't throw no shade at Tamar, because Tamar used what she had.
Hmm.
Her body was what she had. She had nothing else. She's staying at her daddy's house, and so that's how he does what he needs to do. He leaves her gone with his boys. And when it's time to pay up his goat, well, he sends his baby son and his friend to go pay. And they find out she's pregnant, go back to him and say, you know, we don't see no prostitute. We don't see no prostitute. There's no prostitute. The people at the temple say they don't know who you're talking about. And lo and behold, she's pregnant. He wants to have her stoned, because technically she's married to his baby son by law, and he wants to stone her because she's pregnant. So she says, okay, I'll take that, but before y'all take me off to the electric chair, I need y'all to take this stuff right here, because this is for my baby daddy. Remember the seal, the staff, and the cord. She's got something with his name on it. And say, go and take this back to the person this belongs to. And when he gets that, he realizes that, wait a minute, I can't kill her because
Hmm.
she's more righteous than I am. And so, what does that mean about righteous? If we think about, Judah was acting as a when he says she's more righteous than he was, is that, yes, she may have done wrong, but she didn't call me out. She didn't shame me. She didn't put my business in the street. And he says, you know what? Let her go. Let her go free. And how many times have we done things in our lives and we didn't
Yes, sir.
get the punishment that we deserve? And so that's what Christ does for us. He flips our script. instead of getting what we deserve, he gives us grace and he gives us mercy. And that's what happened with Tamar. And because of Tamar's righteousness, she ends up with two children, twins. One was David's grandpa, was David's daddy.
Yeah.
Tamar is in Jesus' genealogy. So when you go to Matthew 1, there's a genealogy that who cares
Come
about
on
who
now.
beget who beget who. But right up front, you're gonna see Tamar's name. There are 5 women listed. You got Tamar, um,
Mm-hmm.
you got Rahab. Okay, Rahab, another woman doing what she had to do, and you have there's an allusion to Bathsheba. You know, Ruth. So these people, Tamar, say what you want to.
Yeah.
She's in Jesus. She's Jesus' grandma. She is Jesus' grandmother. And so, no matter what you think, nothing that you could have done can eliminate
Wow.
you from being in Jesus's family. And so, women have to see themselves in the scripture. We are too created in God's image. We have to see
That's right.
ourselves
And that's why I
in
like
the
hearing that.
scriptures.
That is so awesome because some people think that the Bible is just ancient. And when you read that text and you come acquainted with God's word and be in relationship with God, some people read it like a novel. The Bible is not, it's a book, but it's inspired by God and it's more than just a
Yes,
novel. And that's why they don't get it because it's spiritual. But then when I heard you do that video, I said, that's the way we need to hear things that fit us now. And that's how our pastor do where I go. He's with scripture by scripture text. He's a text like you and make sure. And then, like you
hmm
say, they were way back then. They were speaking to the audience, but then it just kind of went on into our generations. It's now the
that's right.
Bible is not like irrelevant. It's prevalent to what we're doing today.
It's prevalent, but we have to understand the original in order to um, gain the principles for which we are to live. And
Mm-hmm.
so we take text out of context. We make big issues on things that
Mm-hmm.
Jesus never made issues on. We hang our hats on things like divorce and homosexuality and women preaching. Well, where you see Jesus talk about
Ooh.
anything like that? And so um we like to pull things, like we take the script where the Bible says not to wear any women shouldn't wear anything pertaining to a man. Well, if you're gonna look at the script in Leviticus, you need to understand what the men were wearing. So if we're gonna wear, the men got to pull out their long
Oh
dresses.
my
That's
God.
just it. If we're gonna do
I told him we got Peter's sister right here. I mean, Paul's sister. We got Paul's sister.
that, if we're gonna do word for word, and we're gonna be literalist. We are literalists
Right.
in some things, but then other things we don't want to be literalists about. So if we're going to be literal, we have to make sure that we have a refrigerator for everything, because the meat can't
That's
touch,
true.
the cheese and all of this. If you're going to follow what's in if you're gonna follow what's in Leviticus, so don't tell me that I'm just Bible. I just believe the word for word. No, you don't, because you wouldn't have tweed in your
So true.
clothes.
So true.
So we
Yes.
live by principles. We live by principles, because everything does not translate to this Western. Women keep silent in the church. Well, the whole thing about, and we have built so much marginalization and so much hierarchy and patriarchy against women because of a little phrase that Paul said: women keep silent in the church. Well, we have to understand why Paul said it. Because women were not educated, and they were asking questions in public, causing embarrassment for their husband. So Paul says, look, while you're here, remain silent, and when you get home, because
Mm-hmm.
there was an honor and shame system that could bring dishonor against the husband. Well, today we don't have that problem because women are educated. We can ask questions wherever we
Yeah.
want to ask them. But you got to understand the context. And we preachers have become lazy and do not want to do the work. And the people have not demanded that we do the work. They are satisfied
Yes.
with candy coated preaching. But I just heard the late Gardner C. Taylor say that candy tastes good. But candy, if you eat too
Yes.
much of it, will eventually rotten your teeth. And if you keep eating it with rotten teeth, you can get an
Mm.
infection and eventually die.
Wow.
So we have to do better. So now,
Yeah.
as you can see, I'm very, very passionate when it comes to preaching, and because what I really believe
Yes.
is that people's lives are at stake, and when they come to church on Sunday mornings, and whenever they go, that
That's right.
we should not waste their time. That they need something. Candy will tide you over
That's
until
right.
you can get some real food. But it won't sustain you. And so we dealing with the health and wealth and prosperity and all this fluff, and we get sugar high and have our diabetes in the church because of all of this cotton
That's
candy
right. So true.
um, sermons and things we're having. And when we get to Monday morning and Satan comes up
Melt us
like a
down.
flood, we have nothing to hold us. Let
That's
us
what
down.
I'm talking about. Sustaining word. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Sustaining
Guys, you
word.
can see. You guys
Sustaining
see.
word.
Hello, Candace. Hello,
Sustain.
Wendy. Hello, Sonia. Y'all see a very powerful woman. I just had. You would think I'd known her for years. I really enjoyed. I love what she's saying and how we do. And I was telling the lady earlier, like I was telling you, I was talking to her. We did a bad deal as Christians. We fluff did everything and read it our way and gave them what we think, not what the words say. And so now, like you said, you got to break up that old teaching, the wrong teaching. We did a lot of wrong teaching. We did
Hmm.
all that stuff. So,
But it,
hmm
they had what they had. Grandma had what she had. You weren't gonna take that away from her. My grandpa died saying, "Sherri, you ain't supposed to preach," but he went everywhere I was at, and he could get there. He went, and he even had the nerve to tell me. Now he couldn't hear, but he would be there, and he had the nerve to tell me, "Don't embarrass the family by not doing good." But he was
wow.
there. And I wasn't gonna waste no time in it to try to get Grandpa context about First Corinthians 14, 26 through 40, and what it
Yeah.
meant. He just went on with it. But he was
Wow.
everywhere I was that he could get there.
I am so. Do you have your book with you? Because it looked backwards when I did like that. Can you see? It looked,
No, it's turn it over around, turn
but
it
it looks
around over.
okay. Can y'all see it?
Yes,
It looks backwards to
that's
me.
it. No,
Oh,
you
okay.
no,
All
but
right.
it's good
Awesome.
to
Awesome.
us.
Awesome. That's her book there,
Yes.
Not Built to Break. And we're going to talk about. There's a page. Do you have your book with you? That's all right.
No, but I'll know it.
No, we don't need you to
Yeah,
get
because
up. Stay
otherwise
right
I
there.
would have to get up.
She
Okay.
have in her book, and it's titled "So What," and there's 7 lessons, and you call them 7 bought lessons. Okay, I'm gonna read from. I'm not
Yes.
gonna read the whole contents, but I'm just gonna read the title. Okay. Number one lesson, you said,
Okay.
"I am fearfully and wonderfully made." And there were some things you said in there, like for instance, you said it took me a
Yes.
long time to embrace my difference and to accept the fact that different does not mean deficient when I fully understand that God took the time to hand stitch me together. My world blossomed. So, what does that mean for you now?
Well, that means that I am who I am, a loud country girl. Um, don't like hair, wide hips, you know, that's who I am. And when you can spend some time, I spend all kind of money trying to lose weight, and I could be a size 2, still gonna have hips because that's who God created me to be. And so when I understood that um, God created each one of us with distinct features, distinct personalities, distinct ways of doing things, distinct gifts. Um, I just became comfortable with who I am. Um, but I do recognize that if
Yes.
everybody is like me, then somebody is unnecessary. We need, I can only be who I am. And so, but I do realize my strengths and my weaknesses. I realize my strengths and my weaknesses. And embracing who I am helps me to have people around me who compliments me or who fills in for my weaknesses. I know without a shadow of a doubt, I'm a visionary. I can get up and talk and bring people together. But the details, how to get there, I don't care about those. All I know is I want to go to the moon. And I tell them, we going to the moon. How we going? I don't know how we going to the moon, but we going. That's what you for, to tell me how to get to the moon. And once I understood that, then that means that I flow in my area. I stay in my lane. So when I do my book signings and things of that nature, or whenever I do something major, I have a good friend and she is organized. She is very methodical. She will go from A to B to C to D. I'm going to go A, Z,
You sound
T,
like me.
and it's gonna be all over the place. Now we're gonna ride. But I'm
You
gonna be
sound like
bleeding
me and
by the
my
time I
Wendy.
get
And
there.
I always say everybody needs a Wendy. That's Wendy.
Yeah.
That's what Wendy does.
And
When
well,
I
I
do my
got
show on
one.
the
I
outside,
got one.
Wendy say, make sure you got your charger, you got this, you got that. She's
Yeah.
online. And then I don't be thinking about
Yeah.
nothing. She say, Ellen, you got your charger?
I have
No.
nothing. I don't have nothing. I don't have. And so my friend, Tara, she said, Sherri, this is the way this table gonna be set up. You gonna sit here. I'ma sit here. They gonna start here. And you don't do nothing. Don't touch the
Why
book.
you
I'ma
like
pass
me?
the book.
Why are you like me?
I'ma pass you the book. And so when the people would come talk to me, I said, oh no, I can't touch those books. You got to go on that side of the table and come back. And when we were at the when I was preaching Sunday, and the people say, well, and she went to sit down, and they brought me in the office. They said, you want me to get my armor bearer? Your armor bearer? I said, armor bearer? Who is my armor bearer? Say the lady you brought. I said, oh no, she tell me what to do. I don't tell her what
Wow.
to do.
So much like me.
I don't tell her what to do. But once I understood me,
Mm-hmm.
I embraced that and said, and I understand that I need other people. I cannot, no person is an island. And when you understand you don't have to do it all, you don't have to be it all, be who you are. And, and Tara's the flip side of me. She's not going to get up front. She's not going to talk,
Uh-huh.
but she's going to watch everything while I'm talking. She watches, sharing that bullet coming, and I'm just sharing that
That's
bullet.
me. That's me. You so me. And the second lesson is change costs. I'm
Yeah.
going to read a little bit of, like I said, early on, I discovered that my next level more always came at the cost of losing what I held dear. What does it mean for you now?
Yes. Well, for example, when I was called to preach, well, I lost some people who I had grown up with, people who I'd gone to church with. Um, I've always been a Baptist girl. I've gone through all the local, state, and national conventions. But when I said yes to God for my
Mm,
preaching, I lost friends. I lost people who I thought we were going to be ride or die, but we were
mm-hmm.
as long as I was in that circle. But then I wanted to go off and do something that a girl not supposed to do, and so that's what I mean about change costs. Every time that and I'm right in the cups right now of it seems that every time I get comfortable in something, God says, okay, well, it's time to, move on. So,
Mm,
you lose people, places, and things. That's what I mean about cost. Um, but God always, in the new place, in the new season, gives me what I need for um,
mm,
for that time. And so my prayer is now, God, every day help me to be open to the possibilities and opportunities that may come in the unlikely
wow.
people, places, and things.
Third lesson, embrace change. Life is costly, changing for the good or for the bad.
Change is going to happen. You can kick against the prick if you want to, but it's going to happen. And the best way is to embrace it. If you can't get over it, get in it. If you can't go around it or under it or over, get in it. Do what you need to do,
Hmm.
and it will go a lot. You know, life is constant. Life is
Wow.
constant. Embrace change.
And it says, be free to live your authentic you. And a little glimpse it says, live life to the fullness on your own terms. Exclamation point.
Yeah. Oh, exclamation point. um, you uh, you've got to be willing to be you. Do you know how many people are in bondage because they cannot be free to be who they are? Um, now sometimes you get in trouble when you do that because that's the whole
That's
reason I
true.
got married, because I wanted to do what I wanted to do. Yeah, and but you have to be willing to take the consequences of being your authentic self. But the freedom comes in there's no more pretense. There's no you are who you are. When you see me, you know, this is what you're going to get in the pulpit, the White House, the poorhouse. It
Hmm.
is who it is. And so I know who I am. There was a cost to get here because all of the journey, all of that stuff, had I not, had the situation with the ex, be it, crack at it, I wouldn't have left home to get to Wisconsin, to hear God's voice, to accept my call, to come here, to be able to talk, to have a story. And so it is what it is. But so many people, especially women, and what I find out is that we're all pretending to impress people we don't even like.
So true. So true. So true.
Yeah.
Sixth lesson is keep moving. Do not let your past hurts, habits, or hangups keep you stuck.
we can live in the past so much. Um, so I could have let this particular my situation um,
Mm-hmm.
take me down. You know, as time went on, I could have like just continually reflect on what had
Mm-hmm.
happened and not what could happen. And so sometimes we don't want to do the work. Now I had to do the work to get here. I had to get up and do something. Like Tamar, I had to do what I had to do. I had to leave to make a conscious decision to get up and get out. And or I could have just stayed there and wallow and wallow and wallow. So you can't just, yes, those things did happen to you. It's for real. It happened to you. But that's only one chapter in your life. It is not
Right.
the totality of who you are.
Wow.
It's just one thing. You are that, but
Wow.
you're also this too.
The seventh lesson is family is everything. You cannot pick your family, but God knows who to use to produce, to proceed body needed to help your spirit. Uh-huh.
To house your spirit. Um, okay, so we can pick a whole lot of people, but we can't pick
Mm-mm.
our parents. We sure can't pick our parents. They picked us, so to speak. Um, Good, bad, ugly, no matter what we've gone through. I love my mom. I love my dad. Um, it's family will stick with you. And if once you read the book, the decisions that I've made, they didn't necessarily um want me to do those things, but when I decided that I was going to
Mm.
do them, they were right there. Um, what I know is
Yeah.
every family is dysfunction.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard Jesus family?
Woo.
That's the most the people who we hold as
Mm.
superheroes in the Bible. Abraham, that we call the father of faith. Abraham, he was messed up. Jacob was messed up. Isaac, they was all trickster that in the family. It just ran in the family. And so,
Mm.
but we hold them with high esteem. And so, likewise, our families, the people, you're talking about Meet the Browns.
Oh my goodness.
We're we're the Browns. However, when it comes to it,
Oh.
we're gonna all jump to attention. We're
I don't
gonna
want to
make it
give
work.
all the story away, but what made you, since you mentioned marrying the crackhead, a known crackhead, what made you think you was gonna make him better?
Um, well, first of all, when we met, he was not actively using. And it was only after we kind of like got together that I began to hear about him, using. Well, at that time, I knew nothing about drugs. So if he was clean then, I thought he had it. I don't know nothing about relapses and even though my dad was an alcoholic and I understood that, but I didn't transfer that to um, drugs. Okay. After all, was a church boy. Now y'all told me a good church girl need a church boy, and so when I met him, he was singing. He was singing quartet. So you know, church girl, church boy, good family. And it was only afterwards that I began to hear And but so when they were telling me, oh no, he's got it, I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know anything about the drug world. And so it was not like I just went out and said, okay, I'm
Okay.
going to get this person who's addicted to drugs. It was, it was only afterward, but by that time, um, my family had dismissed anybody. See, I'm the only girl, so they had dismissed any boy that I
You
brought. So
just
this
gonna do
one I was
you.
just gonna do. I'm gonna just do me.
You know, ain't
Embrace it.
nobody good enough, right?
I'm
Ain't
gonna do
nobody
me.
good enough. I'm just doing me. I'm just doing me.
And nobody was good enough. So I just said, okay, well, I can show you better than I can tell.
Oh my gosh.
And it told me.
Oh, so you before the book, before the marriage, what were you like?
Um, I had finished college, was working at the newspaper, so I had done everything, that they told me to do. You go to college, you get a job. And so I was working in the newspaper as a newspaper reporter. I was traveling all over. Hey, I was living the single girl life. And but then there came a time where I'm 28 years old, my friends get married, this and that. I feel, well, okay, and everybody asks you, well, when you gonna get married? When you gonna get married and have
Putting all
children?
that
So
pressure on you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Hi, Wendy. I see your question. How long do you? I stayed in the marriage on paper for about 6 years. About 6 years, from '94 to
Wow.
2001, I think, to 2001. But and like I said, all of those, there were some glimpses of
Mm-hmm.
every day was not a bad day. There were some times where he did have some clean time, and he was a very good person. He just had
Wow.
was
That's
addicted
what
to
you call a
drugs.
multitude. Love covers a multitude of fault. We're going to open the lines up. Those of you, I know you, some of you, if you read the book or if you may not have read the book, before I open the floor, just give them a general thing about your book, and that way they can get some sort of idea of what to ask or any questions to go from.
Well, the book is my memoir that tells my journey um, of redemption, restoration, because in getting married and going through that, it really broke me down. Um, it stripped me of me. It stripped me of mental faculties. I was almost like 200 pounds and just kind of like existing. And I had to come to myself to get out. And it took me a long time because being a church girl and growing up in church and, hearing the words, you are not supposed to get divorced. And I just figured that if I prayed and did the things that, they told us to do, what you were supposed to do, had faith that things would change. And they did not. And so I had to find a way to get out. So when you talk about the title, Not Built to Break, it talks about the foundation. I'm having a strong family foundation. So even though there was much dysfunction, we had extended family. My, growing up, my dad was an alcoholic. My mom worked. However, we had grandparents. Now that's kind of like different than today because, you know, girls have babies at 13, 15, and
It's true.
grandma's 20. So unlike with my grandmother, my mom was, I think,
Hmm.
18, 19, but my grandmother was 50. And so that having that circle of extended family and the church helped to build a foundation for which I could stand. So that, when the story that talks about the wise person built a house on the rock, and that house stood. The wise
Yeah.
man built his house upon the rock. That Sunday school song. And then the other man built his house on the sand. Well, when the storm came, the wise man's house stood, but the other
Mm-hmm.
man's house on the sand went boom when the storm came. And so that's how um, the title comes about, not built to break. And so that's
Anyone
what
have any
that's what it's
questions?
about.
If you do, write them in there, the questions that you have. While they thinking about the questions, um, I know I've asked you this before,
Hmm.
but the book cover, is this your idea or your publicist's idea or
No, it was my idea. One day after church, I ran home and got changed clothes, and I knew that I wanted to be in a house, so I got a photographer, and that we went to a house that was being
mm,
built, and it was just framed and the foundation. So
wow. Because
that's how we got
some
that picture.
authors don't have that much control
Yes.
over their book covers. So that's very powerful.
Yeah. Well, yeah. This was an independent,
I like that.
independent thing. So I'm not
I
gonna do
know
much,
that's
but
right.
I'm
Yeah,
not gonna
the
be able
the
to have
pages
some
won't
say.
even turn without you getting your. I don't even want to see that. That's gonna
Don't
be ugly.
even.
We're gonna have to, let's pray for you in advance.
Yeah.
Is there a book two coming up?
Yes. Yes. I do have some other stuff coming, but they will be more of a I'm doing a small book that's coming out probably around October the 1st about am I to keep silent, that deals with that passage of
Wow.
Paul saying women keep silent in the church. I am doing something on that. And I'm also wanting to do something about how the black church treats the
Wow.
homosexuality in the black church.
Wow.
Yeah. So both of those will be kind of like on the
Wow. So
academic side a
do
little bit.
anybody see you as a rebel?
Yeah. Oh God, yes.
Because when I see you, and you talked about women pastors, and I've been hearing it in later, not just from you, but in the news and different pieces and different things on there, and it kind of I'm understanding it, but it's kind of like a movement, as if a women's right movement. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like that if you listen
Hmm.
to it, and I don't think, and just from listening to you, and as you have said with your own mouth, you're not here to bash down men, and you're not here to
Oh
tear
no, I
anything
love
like that.
men.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh God,
So,
no,
so
I love
to get a
men.
rebel like that, they like, what is going on? Why is it so adamant about this?
Well, I don't know that. I think what is happening is, as women are entering seminaries and becoming more educated and getting more um, degrees, ministerial degrees, masters of divinities, and doctors of ministry, things of that nature. I think that we have just, well, it's been going on a long time, but see, social media and things like that have opened things up. Women are now, I guess we've, in some way, we're tired of hearing the time is not right. Well, we just have to wait a little longer. Well, how much longer? And so, um, women have always been, you know, the
Hmm.
backbone of the church. 75%. Carrie Day has a book, Unfinished Business, that talks about basically during the civil rights time, and even when in this thing about black liberation, when James Cone put out the book that dealt with liberation theology. it was liberating the black male, but the black female was kind of, excuse me, was left behind. And so the black male, who was the oppressed,
Mm-hmm.
has now become the oppressor. Is the is the oppressor of the women who helped them
Wow.
become free. And so I think, the timing. We just talk about it. We have books now, and we social media and things like that. Now, don't get me wrong. Women are the
Uh-huh.
biggest oppressors of other women.
Yeah.
Biggest oppressors of other women. And so, I'm not trying to start. I
Mm-hmm.
want to help women to see their worth and to see themselves in the pages. If 75% of the women go is in any congregation, I don't care what denomination it is,
Mm-hmm.
every Sunday, 75%, okay? And they take their light
Mm-hmm.
bills and fund the building fund. Women take their rent and help
Mm-hmm.
buy food for the food pantry. But then they go home to no lights. They go home to no, the being getting ready to be evicted. Okay. And so, but nobody deals with their plight. They're the first ones at the church.
It's true.
They make the church go around. But at the same time, there's no reason we should know about the story of Tamar. But we get preached to, around, over, but
Mm-hmm.
not to see ourselves. And then what I'm very cognizant of, and I call it out, when there is a negative joke that comes
Mm-hmm.
across the pulpit that about a woman. If you listen to illustrations that the preacher gives, the
Mm-hmm.
woman is going to be in a negative light. What she's doing or what she's not doing, what she's wearing, what she's not. So, why do we want to have a woman to cover up everything and we don't
Oh.
tell the man to learn how to control his stuff?
Wow.
So, to answer to your question, yes. But this is what God has called me to. Um,
Wow.
and it's a cost. It's a cost, but
Have you
it's
ever
it's
been
what
in
it's what it
like
is.
any male preachers or pastors talk with you? Um, are you being rebel? What are you doing? Have you been challenged? In other words, have you been challenged?
No, well, not so much challenge face to face. It's all kinds of stories. I At my church, the church that people say, you go to the Baptist church? Yeah, I go to the Baptist church, and I'm fully ordained. We have that freedom in our church. But one time, there was a funeral at the church, and we um it wasn't our member, but somebody was using the church. But I went because I knew the family, and I went to introduce myself to the preacher that was going to be in charge. Well, he made a mistake and thought I was the usher, and I asked him, did I? It was anything that I could do, to help. He said, yeah, get him some water. I said, well, I'll tell the usher, but I won't be getting no water. So now, don't get me wrong. I don't have a problem with getting water. But my problem comes in when you think that because I'm the woman, I got to get your water. That's the problem
Wow.
that I have.
There's a question on the board. Man, you are hot stuff. There's a question on the board that said from Sonia. She said, how did you know you were ready for the call?
Well, I never was ready. I never was ready, but what happened was that I kept having these reoccurring,
Hmm.
and everybody called is different, but there was just this sense that I was supposed to be doing a little. I have the gift of teaching. I have a master's degree in adult education. I had a, that's just what I do. And so I felt God nudging me, and I said, and I went to my pastor. I said, "Oh, well, I know God wants me to take this up a notch, but maybe." And at this time, I'm still kind of a little shaky about women in ministry. So I said, okay, perhaps this is called to teach. I'll do that. I can do that. Because remember, I've been raised in the South, and I was I grew up where women were not supposed to preach. So when I went to my pastor, he says, if you find that you still have not gotten rest, your spirit is still not at ease, you know that you have been called to go to the next level of to preach. 1 year later, the pastor preached in the year that King Uzziah died. That's from Isaiah 6 and 1. That tells the story how Isaiah's uncle had to die for him to see God. He said, in the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord. Well, that night I dreamed, and God showed me that my Uzziah was my family, particularly my mom. So that it I did not want it to be the case that my mom had to be removed for me to hear and see God. And so the next day, I went to my pastor and said, I
Wow, you
give
were
up. I'm
arrested.
ready.
Wow. We got Wendy, she just gave a
Yeah.
comment. It was an earlier comment, empowerment and respect to other women as well. Earlier, we got 5 minutes. In this 5 minutes, are there any more questions? You can put it on the board. I would definitely look at the questions. What are your final words, or what do you want women to know, especially as referred to the gospel and really handling God's word as a woman? As you say, there are barriers. We do know that, and as a woman, and respect, because I know
Mm-hmm.
I came from the old Church of God in Christ, and they've always had women way back then. Now I'm non-denominational, but there was no problem right there. So,
Well, well, technically, um, in the Church of God in Christ,
uh-huh,
you can get so far. You could be an evangelist, but you will never have the platform and the you can never be a pastor, or you can't be
uh-huh,
it's only so far you can go. You can be an evangelist, but you will never be
yeah,
called reverend. You will never be called, be put in a major leadership position. And a lot of people don't have a problem with
ah,
you preaching. They just don't want you in leadership. Hmm.
wow.
They just
So,
don't
what
want you
would
in
you tell
leadership.
them out there? What do you want to say? Pastors, lay members, all of them.
Well, what I would say is,
Hmm.
you can't get around being who God has called you. If you tell me that you
Mm,
are, I will tell you that you're living miserably. That you are living miserably, and that God will orchestrate some stuff for you to get where you need to be. See, the all of my journey
hmm.
was about me getting here. And so, because I was so entrenched in the traditions, I guess God had to do something real big to get my attention, just like Job. And so he got me out of there to a place where I could begin to hear God to get me here. So I would say, um, do what you need to do. Now, there was one other lesson that we didn't talk
Yes,
about, and it
yes.
was be kind to everyone you see, because you do not know the great burden that you're carrying. Can I tell you that every woman, every person, every human, we think they might have an attitude, or, they just don't want to do right. They just, think they're stuck up. But I guarantee you, if you really get to the crux of it and you pull back
Yeah.
all the layers, because we are good at putting on layers, but if you pull back all the layers, what you will find is a hurting person. There are some basic spiritual
Yeah.
or human needs that we all have: to love, to be loved, to be nurtured, to belong, to feel valued. And I guarantee you, if you pull back everything, all the layers, I don't care how it's manifested, you
Mm-hmm.
come back, you're going to get to one of those. So if we be kind and take the time to realize the things that you're going through and
Mm-hmm.
feeling, perhaps that's what she's feeling.
So true. Where can they get your book? And
They can get my book now at sherrybrownjackson.com. Sherrybrownjackson.com. I personally sign all books and send them out. So we will be getting on Amazon and all the rest of them. But right now, I have the books. So when you order, the order comes directly to me. I
wow.
sign the book and I
So,
send it out.
guys, you got that here. We got uh, Reverend Sherri L. Brown Jackson, her book titled Not Built to Break. This has been a wonderful moment. I certainly enjoy talking with you. As I said, I think I've known you for a while. I come to know you from, and she's on here, from Candace. That's your Candace. That's how I come to
Oh, that's
know.
my Candace.
That's how I come to know you. And yep, she told me about you, and
Candace
I
is
say I
very
got to
good.
see it, and then I seen the video, and I said, "Oh, wow!" And I can,
Yes.
believe it or not, I played that over and over again when I heard it, and it played over and over on this on my channel. If you see it,
Wow.
it plays over and over again because it's very powerful. And
Hmm.
Wendy and someone on there said that they had not heard that story quite like that. So maybe it's time to just let people know about that side of the story. I guess I just know you passionately from the Tamar story, and it came out really well, very well. Anybody have any questions? Fire Talk, it will shut off in a moment, but it hasn't shut. We over like 1 minute, and does anybody have anything else to
Okay.
say? Oh, thank you. Candace says, "Love you both. We love you
Thank you,
back.
Candace.
We love you back." And
Thank you, Candace.
so we got that done. On any place you're going to be, so the world would know, because we're global right now, that they'll
Yes.
know your upcoming things, what you got going on.
Yes. Well, I don't have any travel out of the area right now, but my website, Sherri Brown Jackson, will list my travel. We are just getting um, together, getting schedules and things together. And so I'm available to come to book clubs, certainly preaching, whatever. And I'm willing to come. I'll
That's
tell
right. That's
Tara, she'll
right.
get it
Well,
together.
I'm going to say my little thing. You go ahead and any more final words, or anything you like to say, and then I'll close out. Anything else? That's it. Well, guys, I thank you guys for being
That's
here.
it.
Those that were in the queue, those that are online. I'm Ellen Sutter of ESP Presents, where we bring in live shows here, page turners, as well as things in our community and health information. We're going to have coming tomorrow. We're going to talk to Tony Lindsay. That's going to be a recap on his book titled Acorns in a Skillet. And the book is about racecraft in America. So that we'll talk about that, and he'll come on tomorrow at 10. We'll go ahead and make it 10. We usually do 9:30, but he's going to come on at 10 a.m. and that's Eastern Standard Time. We're going to talk about his book, as well as he's going to give us the content to break it down, and he'll do a reading. So, guys, I thank you for that. We'll sign off. Thank you for being over here. I'm so passionate about what you do, and thank you so
Thank
much. And
you.
I'm looking forward. I seen the little clip that you had.
Thank you so much.
Somebody took a picture of you on TV, and so I was looking at that.
Yes, 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 yes. The full interview as a
On your Facebook,
podcast
is
is
there a link
available
that you
on
can
my
put here
Facebook
live that
page.
people can see it, or there's not a link? And if you
Um,
can get it, you
let's
can
see
put
if
it
I
on
can
there
get it
live.
here
It'll
now.
stay on here. Okay. Just put that link up there and then
There it
come in there,
is.
guys. You want to see that. And there's the link there where you were, where were you in Alexandria? So
In
that's a very good
Alexandria.
clip. Y'all
On
look at it.
yes.
I see a thumbs up. Thank you guys so much. Good night. All right. You're welcome. All right. Bye bye.
Good night. Thank you so much. Bye bye.